Howdy folks, and welcome back to Slow Dusk, where we ride deep into the heart of classic frontier storytelling. Today we're shifting the spotlight away from the stoic cowboys and hardened gunmen, and toward the women who helped shape the Western mythos in their own unforgettable way. Western cinema isn't always kind to its female characters. Too often they're pushed to the sidelines, saloon girls, school marms, or damsels in distress. But when a Western gets it right, when a film allows a woman to command the screen with grit, grace, and fire, the result can be electrifying. These aren't just great performances, they're pivotal figures in Western film history. Each of these women redefined what it meant to be tough in a man's world, often bending or breaking the very genre conventions that try to confine them. So strap yourselves in and join us as we count down the 6 greatest leading ladies in Western cinema. Kicking off our list is Suzy Amis as Jane Grierson in The Ballad of Little Joe, a criminally underseen revisionist Western based on a true story. After being cast out by her family, Jane disguises herself as a man to survive in the brutal world of the American frontier. What follows is a quietly devastating performance of endurance, identity, and isolation. Amis doesn't play Jane as a rebel. She plays her as a survivor, one whose every decision is shaped by fear and necessity. What makes Jane's journey so powerful is how it reframes the myth of the West. This isn't about conquest or justice, it's about hiding in plain sight, about the terrifying freedom and crushing loneliness of the frontier. The violence she avoids, the small joys she steals, the dignity she clings to, it's all woven into a performance of astonishing restraint. The Ballad of Little Joe doesn't shout, it whispers. And in that whisper, Suzy Amis crafts one of the most quietly radical women in Western cinema. Sharon Stone saddled up in The Quick and the Dead and blew a hole straight through the genre's boys' club. As Ellen, a mysterious gunslinger with a grudge and a fast draw, Stone flips the gender dynamics of the Western on their head. She's not here to be rescued. She's here to kill Gene Hackman's corrupt town boss in a high-stakes gunfighting tournament. And she does it with steely silence and eyes that burn hotter than the desert sun. Stone's performance is unapologetically stylish. Under Sam Raimi's hyperkinetic direction, she plays Ellen like a haunted spirit, emotion bottled beneath a calm, deadly surface. Her duels aren't just shootouts. They're acts of vengeance, of reclaiming power in a world that thought she was disposable. For a genre that so often erased its women, The Quick and the Dead let a woman do the erasing, and Stone made it look easy. At just 13 years old, Hailee Steinfeld marched into True Grit and gave one of the most commanding performances the Western has ever seen. Mattie Ross isn't your typical frontier girl. She's smarter than the lawmen, tougher than the bounty hunters, and absolutely unshakable in her quest to avenge her father's murder. With every word she speaks, clipped, legalistic, and filled with righteous fury, Steinfeld builds a character both endearing and intimidating. The Coen brothers' version of True Grit isn't about Rooster Cogburn. It's about Mattie. She drags the adults through frozen rivers, haggles with businessmen twice her age, and stares down killers without flinching. And in the film's haunting coda, we see what that kind of resolve costs a person. Mattie Ross didn't just ride into the Western genre, she redefined it, not with a gun, but with grit. Joan Crawford's Vienna might be the most stylish, subversive, and singular woman to ever stand behind a bar in the West. In Johnny Guitar, Vienna is the one with power. She owns the saloon, she controls the land, and she commands the camera. Crawford plays her with fierce elegance, all high collars and low-cut threats, turning every line into a challenge and every stare into a duel. What makes Vienna unforgettable is how she navigates a world that despises powerful women. Her enemies don't just want her land, they want to see her punished for daring to be self-sufficient. And Crawford responds with venom-laced calm, never begging, never backing down. Johnny Guitar is one of the strangest Westerns ever made, a Baroque fever dream of a film. And at the center of it all, Vienna burns like a flame that refuses to be snuffed out. Some will argue that The Piano isn't a Western, but with its colonial setting, frontier violence, and moral ambiguity, Jane Campion's film absolutely belongs in the conversation. And Holly Hunter's Ada McGrath earns her place on this list. Mute and fiercely independent, Ada is shipped to 19th century New Zealand with her young daughter and a beloved piano in tow. What follows is a story of love, control, and rebellion, set against the raw, untamed wilderness. Hunter's performance, delivered almost entirely through expression and gesture, is as forceful as any gunslinger's draw. This is a Western without gunfights, but with plenty of battles over body, voice, and autonomy. And Ada, silenced by trauma and circumstance, finds a way to scream louder than any man through music, defiance, and sheer will. Holly Hunter won an Oscar for this role, and she earned it with every furious, fragile glance. Topping our list is Julie Christie's haunting turn as Mrs. Miller in Robert Altman's melancholic masterpiece. In the grimy, snow-blanketed town of Presbyterian Church, Mrs. Miller runs a brothel, but don't let that fool you. She's the sharpest mind in the movie, the only character with a long-term plan and the emotional core of a dying dream. Christie plays her with guarded brilliance, part entrepreneur, part addict, and entirely unforgettable. Her scenes with Warren Beatty's McCabe smolder with quiet tension. She sees through his charm, knows the dangers ahead, and still chooses to carve a life out of the mud and snow. When the bullets start flying, she's not in the fight. She's in an opium haze, dreaming of something better, or at least something far away. Mrs. Miller doesn't conquer the frontier, she endures it. And in doing so, she becomes its most haunting symbol. And there you have it. 6 leading ladies who didn't just survive the Western frontier, they redefined it. From vengeful gunslingers to silent rebels, from saloon queens to stubborn daughters, these women shattered the myths of the West and carved out their own space in a genre long dominated by men. Their stories might not always end with triumph, but they leave a mark. Just like a bullet in a whiskey-soaked floorboard. Western cinema is changing, and as these performances prove, it's all the better when it remembers that grit, courage, and complexity aren't just for the cowboys. Did we miss one of your favorite frontier femmes? Drop your picks in the comments below. And if you love this ride through the untamed wilds of Western film, hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into cinematic legend. Until next time, this is Slow Dusk, signing off.